Welcome to the latest from the Arnold Clark Car Show. I'm Rachel McTavish, and this is what we've got coming up. We'll be casting our eyes over the award-winning, stylish, compact and affordable ŠKODA Karoq and finding out just why it's been voted What Car Best Family SUV 2 years in a row. We'll be luxuriating in the premium SUV market with the hugely spacious yet gloriously refined Volvo XC90. With winter fast approaching, we'll find out what you need to do to make sure your car is ready for the cold months ahead. And later in the show, I'll be taking a deep breath and strapping in behind the wheel of the iconic Jeep Wrangler to push it, and possibly myself, to the limit as we go off-roading.
So you feel it coming up there.
Watty, I noticed you're gripping onto the dashboard, you're gripping onto the handle.
On for dear life.
So all that to come, but first we're kicking things off with this. At first glance, the ŠKODA Karoq's looks may not wow you in the same way as some of its mid-size crossover rivals, but don't be deceived. In one of the most competitive corners of the car market, the Karoq's overall package really should make you stand up and take notice. ŠKODA burst onto the blossoming SUV market in 2009 with the launch of the ŠKODA Yeti. Admittedly, its quirky looks weren't to everyone's taste, but for many it was an SUV to fall in love with, and it scooped a whole load of industry awards to prove it. However, a more mainstream facelift in 2013 left Yeti fans feeling, well, a little lukewarm. Fast forward to 2017 and ŠKODA decided to put the Yeti out to pasture and replace it with this, the ŠKODA Karoq. And while it may not have had the same charisma or personality, what it did provide was much more space, a more refined drive, in fact an upgrade in almost every department. Well, I'm joined now by Calum, who knows about everything Karoq. Calum, thanks for joining us. It's fair to say that this looks fairly unassuming. What is it that you love about this car?
Personally, with the Karoq, there's loads of tech and spec in it. That's something that draws me to it. First of all, for a relatively modest price, you get a lot of kit for your money. Particularly with the Sportline, you do get a few extras here and there, like the panoramic sunroof, electric tailgate and things. So personally, it just ticks all the boxes for me.
Now, when you build as a family SUV like the Karoq is, you need to have that all-important boot space. Let's see how it measures up.
So as you can see, it's a decent sized boot space for considering the size of the Karoq, 521 litres, so it's by no means tiny given the size of it.
So what's this panel here?
Let me show you. So first of all, in behind the centre armrest, there's a second panel behind there, revealing it's a bit extra space, you can pull longer things through, and then beyond that.
That's a really clever idea, isn't it? Especially if you're wanting to carry planks of wood, you don't want to put the seats down, but you do have that option. And I believe there's a bit of a hidden secret in some of the other models as well.
There is, yes. It's what they call the VarioFlex seats. So it's basically 3 independent rear seats that you can move both forwards and backwards, fold up and take them out altogether, basically make the car into a small van if you wanted.
And it's not just in the boot that the Karoq offers ample space. In the back, there's more than enough leg and head clearance for even the tallest of passengers. And it's a similar story in the front, isn't it, Calum?
It is, yeah. Also, I've got loads of headroom. The seat's got height adjustment in it as well, and lumbar support. In terms of storage, there's lots of wee cubbies and things.
Oh yes, that's great.
And then in front and behind the gear stick as well, more space there.
And underneath the passenger seat,
there is. I've got a wee umbrella tucked away there for when the rain inevitably comes later.
Now, the one thing about the much-loved Yeti, which this essentially replaced, was the fact it did have a slightly plasticky feel. This doesn't.
Absolutely not. No, totally different feel to the car. So they've raised the profile a lot with it, I would say, with the soft touch dash, big glass touchscreen in the centre. I think it just raises the profile of it completely. I think it more brings it in line with sort of top-end Audis and Volkswagens now.
The Karoq also comes kitted out with some pretty impressive tech. The infotainment system is clear and intuitive and comes with an 8-inch display as standard, growing to 9.2 inches at the top of the range models, which even have gesture controls. So Calum, it ticks all the boxes in terms of space, comfort and layout, but what about performance? What can we compare it to?
Closest one to compare it really is the Seat Ateca Arnold VW Tiguan as well. Mechanically underneath all the cars are quite similar, being under the same family group. In my opinion, having driven all three, I do prefer this one. The Karoq Sportline is just a nicer drive with this engine, the 2-litre diesel, 150 brake. It's just enough pull at 251 pound-feet of torque, and it'll get you comfortably beyond 120 at the top end.
I tell you what, you notice we're going through some very windy roads here in Galloway, and it holds the road really well. Yeah,
it's a really nice setup. The suspension is one of the things that ŠKODA did tweak with the car since they first launched it, and they have now got it, in my opinion, pretty much spot on. It's a really nice responsive drive.
And at the same time very smooth as well.
Again, through the steering as well, it should feel quite light, quite responsive for you. But again, the Volkswagen chassis setup is just second to none, really. The 2-litre diesel has got 150 brake, which is a nice amount. You can get a few different variants of that as well. You can get up to a 190 brake, again with the 2-litre diesel. There's also petrols that can give you a 150 brake also, so there's a few different options out there in the market. This one for me is the nicest drive.
And the car is flooded with light because in this model we've got the full-length sunroof as well.
Big difference. I love it, absolutely love it. It does just make it feel a lot roomier, a lot more spacious than maybe the car actually is, but a nice feature.
The Karoq comes in 4 trims and 4 engines to choose from, plus front-wheel or 4-wheel drive options, which, whilst hardly making it an all-conquering 4x4 off-roader, does give extra accessibility to rougher terrain. But it's as an on-the-road, all-encompassing family SUV that the Karoq excels, providing everything you need in terms of space and flexibility, combined with an ability to smooth out bumps in the road that is almost second to none in its class. Yes, it may not be a car that shouts from the rooftops, but when it comes to an affordable, pragmatic, practical, tech-savvy and straight-to-the-point SUV, few can compete. And having been voted What Car's best family SUV for under 30 grand for 2 years running, it's got the awards to prove it. So the ŠKODA Karoq is almost unmatched in the small mid SUV range, especially for the 18 to 30 grand price bracket. But what if you're willing to spend a bit more and you're on the hunt for a high-end premium SUV with even more room for friends, family and equipment? We're talking Audi Q7, BMW X5 and Land Rover Discovery territory, or this, Volvo's XC90. Sometimes it can feel as soon as a manufacturer has released a new model, their designers are straight back to the drawing board, working on a second generation, tweaking and upgrading every couple of years and leaving you with that nagging feeling that your model is going to be outdated all too quickly. Well, that's not the case with Volvo. The XC90 was first launched back in 2002 and it was a full 12 years before Volvo even saw fit to give it an overhaul. And even then there wasn't much to change. I don't know what the Swedish is for if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but it certainly applies here. The XC90 knows exactly what it is, and its clarity of thought is what makes it such an appealing prospect. Everything about its design and execution is geared towards supporting family life, from the feel of the cabin to the simplicity of the drive. Add Volvo's trademark safety and security features into the mix, and you're left with a seriously impressive family SUV. Talk us through some of the features. It's overall kept that very simple shape, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously it is a bit larger than the previous model, however they've tried to keep a lot of the car's characteristics the same. Now obviously, as you'll notice, it does have the Thor hammer headlamp, so obviously sticking with the Scandinavian roots, obviously North mythology is trying to stand out a bit more. But obviously, as you said, being the R design, it does have the black grille, black wing mirrors, black roof rails, again just trying to contrast the colours, make it stand out a bit more. But obviously, as you'll notice, it does have the larger alloys, twin exhaust, things like that, again just giving you that sportier look to a family car.
As we've come to expect with Volvo, the XC90 excels when it comes to safety features. In fact, Volvo can boast a pretty remarkable statistic. Since it was first launched in 2002, there have been no recorded fatalities in any crash involving an XC90. Well, before we take it out on the road, I think it's worth mentioning the boot as well, isn't
it? Now, as you'll know with the XC90, it is a 7-seater. So as you can see, plenty of boot space when the seats are up, so you still have 350 litres in the boot when all the seats are up. You can put the rear seats down, obviously extending it to 800 litres, obviously leading in its category for boot space. But what you can also do is also put those middle seats down for those rare occasion that you need that extra bit of room, and that can put up to 1,800 litres. So again, plenty of space in this car.
Yeah, very impressive. Right, let's get out of this weather.
Yep.
Now inside there's been no expense spared when it comes to driver comfort and style. This feels like a real luxury driving experience.
Well, that's it. Obviously, you're paying that price back for a premium car. You want to make sure that you enjoy it as much as you can. Now, obviously, Volvo, they care about the people that are inside the car. It's all about safety, but they want to make sure you enjoy the experience as much as you can. So as you say, obviously, it's all about the comfort, it's all about the style. So build quality is phenomenal on the cars. You also, the seats, they're shaped to the driver as well. So again, you can extend the seat, you can shape it to your body type just to give you that extra bit of support on those longer drives.
There is also the option for having, we've obviously got the heated steering wheel, the heated seats, but the massage seats as well.
That's it. So that option's there as well. Again, we're trying to take care of people as much as they can. A lot of people are spending a lot of time in the cars nowadays, so we want to make sure that it's as comfy as possible.
The dashboard is really quite simplistic, isn't it? There's not lots of buttons all over the place. It's all controlled by this central screen here.
That's it. So the whole idea is obviously to make it as intuitive as possible. A lot of people are growing up nowadays with these smartphones, tablets. A lot of people have them in their household. So the whole idea is obviously you can jump in here and you'll be able to work this out without any real support. You'll be able to jump in and you'll figure out most of the controls yourself. Now, obviously it isn't solely put down on that centre console. It is all on the steering wheel as well, so again, you aren't having to take your eyes off the road and sit and play about with the screen. It gives you that extra bit of support there.
One thing that I've never seen before is this, it's very hard to describe. I can see projected onto the road in front of me through the windscreen the speed that I'm doing and the speed limit as well. It's a new thing I've not seen before.
Well, that's it. So again, this car does have the winter pack added to it. So you have heated seats, as you said, as standard. However, you do have a heated steering wheel, heated washer nozzles, but you do have the option of a heads-up display and or electric windscreen. So obviously suits the Scottish winters a bit more. But the heads-up display, again, it's all about the safety, not having to take your eyes off the road, so it's displaying the information that you would actually be looking for. So it'll show you the speed you're doing, the speed zone that you're in, so you won't get caught speeding. Also, when you're using the sat-nav, it'll display when your next turn's coming up as well. So again, it's just giving you all the information you'd ever need.
That's common sense, isn't it, to put something projected up there? So let's talk about the actual drivability of the car, because it feels perfectly set up for transporting the family with plenty of comfort. Well,
that's it. Now, obviously, this car does have the four-corner air suspension, so it is obviously constantly adapting to the road surface, so it's just making the drive as seamlessly as possible. So it's just absorbing all the bumps for you just to make the drive a lot easier. Now, this one is the R design, as we've said before, so it is the sport air variant, so it does have sport suspension, but again, with the air suspension, it's just constantly adapting for you just to suit the road surface.
For such a tall car, it stays pretty level, doesn't it?
Well, that's it. It's reducing that lean when you're going through the corners, so it's just making it easy as possible so the wee ones in the back aren't getting shifted around all the time.
Now, it will go off-road, but it's not a Land Rover Discovery, is it?
No, we're not quite at that level yet, but obviously it does have the capability to go off-road. Now, with the XC90s, they're all-wheel drive, so there's no front-wheel drive option, it's all-wheel drive, and you do have an off-road option in the drive modes as well. And what that does is it adds in things like independent braking, descent assist, just to give you that extra bit of control in the harsher conditions.
All models come with 7 seats as standard, and they're not just crammed in either. There's lots of leg, head and shoulder room for rear passengers, albeit the back row is perhaps best left for the kids. The Volvo XC90 is a premium SUV, and as such is up against some pretty big hitters in the forms of the excellent Audi Q7, the BMW X5 and Land Rover Discovery, all major players in their own right. But although at around £50,000 it doesn't come cheap, the XC90 is competitively priced compared to those rivals and comes with a 3-year 60,000-mile manufacturer's warranty. The XC90 is still one of the best luxury SUVs you can buy. Refinement, comfort, looks, and a smooth, uncomplicated drive. It does exactly what it says on the tin. Still to come right here on the Arnold Clark Car Show. We go off the beaten track behind the wheel of one of the world's most iconic 4x4s, the instantly recognisable Jeep Wrangler. But first, with the winter months drawing in, it's that time of year when we all start digging out the gloves, the hats and the winter coats. But it's not just about getting your wardrobe prepped for winter, your car needs to be ready too.
With winter here and temperatures dropping, your car's performance can really suffer. That could put you and your car in danger. I'm Barry Devlin, Service Manager at Arnold Clark, and today I'm just going to show you some of the main areas that you can check during the winter to keep your car in tip-top condition. Make sure your electrics are in full working order. Check your lights, wipers, washers and horn. This will maximise your visibility, reducing your chances of being involved in any drama. It's especially important in the winter to check your radiator and screen wash levels. With your radiator, if you don't have enough antifreeze in the system, you run the risk of the water freezing and damaging or even bursting your radiator. With your screen wash, you need the correct concentration of washer fluid to stop the washer fluid from freezing. It may not freeze in the bottle, it may freeze when it's sprayed onto the windscreen, putting you in danger. There are two main things to check when it comes to tyres: pressure and condition. Cold air contracts, causing the pressure in your tyre to lower, sometimes indicated by a low pressure warning lamp on the dash. You need to regularly check your tyre pressure to keep them in tip-top condition. When it comes to tread, you should have at least 3mm for winter conditions. Anything below this significantly increases your braking distance, not something you want to contend with during the winter. It's also worth thinking about getting all-weather or winter tyres. These are made of a different compound with a slightly different tread pattern. The different compound stays supple in colder temperatures, giving you a better grip on the road. The next one might sound strange. Make sure your air conditioning is turned on. This removes any moisture from the air before it enters the cabin. Also make sure your recirculation button is off. This stops any moisture already in the cabin being filtered back through and onto your windscreen. Finally, but very importantly, is your car's battery. Flat batteries are the most common cause of vehicle breakdown in the winter. Look for the early warning signs, like your vehicle cranking slower than normal on a cold morning. If you experience this, bring your car into any one of our service centres and we'll be happy to check this for you.
For more details about how to prep your car for winter, book a winter car check at Arnold Clark. Or for any information about any of the cars featured on the show, simply head to arnoldclark.com or click on the links below. Earlier in the show, we took a look at two of the best SUVs on the market, the ŠKODA Karoq and the Volvo XC90, both excellent family-sized options if comfort and space are at the top of your wish list. Both also claim to provide 4x4 capability. But let's face it, if you're thinking of doing some serious off-roading, then you'll need something that'll meet that challenge head-on with a growl and undaunted attitude. Something our final car has in spades. From General Eisenhower travelling across war-torn Europe to becoming a status symbol for Hollywood A-listers, few manufacturers can match Jeep when it comes to iconic status, and few cars remain as instantly recognisable. And to many, the Jeep Wrangler is the perfect manifestation of the legend. There's a lineage and history that Jeep lovers expect to be honoured, and its excellence as an all-conquering 4x4 throws up another issue. How do you maintain its traditional off-road hunger while trying to market it as a viable day-to-day on-road option? No easy task, but that is exactly what the 2019 Jeep Wrangler JL attempts to do. So Alan, the Wrangler Jeep, they've got three different trims. We've got the Overland, the Rubicon and this, the entry-level Sahara. But they haven't tinkered too much with a winning formula, have they?
No, not at all. They've kind of stuck to their heritage and tradition of what makes a Wrangler a Wrangler. Of course, it's still got the traditional circular headlamps as well as the square tail lamps as well. What they've done is they've added an LED pack, standard on the three trims there that you've mentioned, LED headlamps, fog lights, daytime run lights and the tail lights as well, giving a nice kind of glow from the car. Of course, you've got the 7-slot front grille there, which is it's a trademark in all the Jeeps. in the range there, going down from the Compass Renegade right to the Wrangler and the
Yeah,
Grand
it's
Cherokee.
very distinctive, isn't it? But they have introduced some safety features as well.
Yeah, they have. Of course, starting from the Sahara here, we do have front and rear parking sensors as well as the rear view camera. As soon as you go to the Overland and Rubicon, you are getting, as standard, the blind spot detection. So a little triangle on the wide mirrors there. It'll glow orange when somebody's in the blind spot, of course.
Now, if you're purchasing a Jeep Wrangler, one of the things you're going to be doing it for most likely is its off-road capabilities. But we're going to take a look now at the on-road improvements that they've made, because they really have made some good changes, haven't they?
Yeah, they're trying to attract a wider audience. What they've done is they've upgraded the infotainment system inside the Wrangler. So we've got an 8.4 inch display here. It's the Uconnect system with Jeep. It comes with built-in AM, FM and digital radio, built-in 3D loaded sat-nav as well. And the Sahara usually doesn't come with the leather seats, but however we've got a launch pack in this, which means we're getting heated seats and steering wheel. Usually that would come in the Overland and the Rubicon model as standard.
The Wrangler comes in 2 or 4 door options, and perhaps not surprisingly, how limited rear passenger space and boot capacity are depends on which model you choose. Plump for the more traditional looking 2-door, and you sacrifice rear head and leg room for increased off-road manoeuvrability. And boot capacity is, well, compact to say the least. The 4-door option offers double the size of boot and will provide slightly more breathing space for rear passengers. Not though on a par with more conventional on-road family SUVs. What the Wrangler does offer that no other SUV can though is transformability. You can choose from 3 roof designs: hard top with removable panels, canvas top which can be folded back like a sunroof, or an electrically retractable canvas top. In fact, the roof and all 4 doors can be removed altogether. You can even fold down the front windscreen, meaning the Jeep Wrangler can be pretty much anything you want it to be. Right, Alan, we're on the road now, which it's fair to say isn't the Wrangler's natural habitat. But again, Jeep have vastly improved what it's like for everyday driving, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the major improvements in the Wrangler is what they've done underneath the hood. Just now, the Sahara, we're in the 2.2 diesel engine. It's 200 brake horsepower. It's the exact same as the 2.8 diesel in the JK in the previous model. But what they have done is they improved CO2 emissions by over 20%. As well as that, they've also improved 0 to 60 by over 15% in both the diesel and in the petrol engine as well. The Wrangler's forte is off-roading.
Yeah, I cannot wait to do that.
You're buying a Wrangler for fun, for adventure.
So, despite vast improvements, it's fair to say the Jeep Wrangler still doesn't offer the sort of on-road sophisticated drive you get from a conventional SUV. But then let's face it, that's not really the point. All is immediately forgiven as soon as you leave the tarmac and enter the Wrangler's natural habitat, places few SUVs fear to tread, which is exactly what I've come to do here at the Scottish Off-Road Driving Centre in Fife. What have you got in store for us?
Very good, Rachel. Well, we've got some lovely steep hills to try the vehicle up and down. They're very steep, quite long, very difficult. We've got some lovely slippery, muddy bits to try as well if you want.
Is it going to stay looking white like that?
I don't think so. It might be a little bit more muddy by the time we finish today.
Alan's going to love us, isn't he?
I'm sure he will.
Watty, I noticed you're gripping onto the dashboard, you're gripping onto the handle.
I'm hanging on for dear life.
Go on, what situations have people got into on here?
They've got some really good fun coming down here with their eyes shut, stopping halfway down, that kind of thing.
Do you mean they intentionally shut their eyes?
Yeah, and
why?
I've got to grip the steering.
Don't want to drop off the road, Rachel, but is this left or right?
Left here.
Oh, left, but there is no road. Okay.
Yeah.
side?
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. There you go. No problem at all.
Okay, and over we go.
Keep working the wheel. Wee bit more, wee bit more.
We need to get you a t-shirt with keep working the wheel.
A wee bit more and
Whoa.
ease off the top. Let it go straight. If you relax with the steering, it will come back to straight ahead. Relax with it. There you go. It's coming back to straight now. And we're going to the left-hand side at the end here.
Oh.
No, we're not.
We're not. The car does not want to go left at all. Do you know what? You've taught me some life skills.
Brilliant.
That is fab. Well, after that, I think both me and the car could do with a rest and a wash. But remember, for more details about any of the cars featured on the show or more advice on how to prep your car for winter, simply visit arnoldclark.com or pop into your nearest Arnold Clark dealership. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.